All right. So if I remember correctly, I want to say my first experience with WorkReady lasted from about October of say 2010 all the way up until maybe May it ended, and then they offered me another opportunity over the summer. So I worked, I want to say about a full month in the summer. I was at CFCF, the prisons on State Road. I worked for the Philadelphia prison system, their intern in the special events committee. It was really a cool experience, to have a cubicle at 17 between a bunch of people that are, this is their real job. I'm not hanging out, but it's also like, hey, they got me doing work like an adult. It was a really cool experience. My second experience with WorkReady was in the summer, and I worked at a camp. But like WorkReady really did so much for me, and I feel like I probably would have been fine either way. I was always good with money. I was, really determined to have a job and work, but WorkReady made it so much easier. And for me, it was cliche, but it was very life changing, and it was what I needed when I was young. WorkReady never made me feel like I was just working to be some corporate goon. I was an individual, and they treated me like that, and I love that. I extremely precisely remember it because I was so thrilled to get that money. It was on a little debit card. It goes direct to direct deposit, and I remember with a year or even 2 years after I was done working for WorkReady, I still had money on that card. I did so much savings by getting that card. So I would determine it to where I think I was getting paid maybe about $240 every 2 weeks, something like that, maybe a little more. And I would say, okay, half of this, I'm kind of just taking. This is my money. The rest of it is going to just continue to add up. I'm not even going to call and check the balance. I wanted to just continue to pile up. And I would take that first bit of money, go buy a hat. This is every 2 weeks. I would go buy a fitted hat that was about $27.99 at the time, which is going up, I want to say $11 since. It's the same hat. So I would buy a fitted hat. I would go to probably H&M and buy like a pair of jeans and a shirt, and I would still have about $60 after that. And that money would stretch so far. I typically just tried to build up the collection of clothing that I still have to this day. And I don't think I wasted any of that money. So I still have my WorkReady debit card from all of the funds I acquired, 10, 12 years ago. It's somewhere in my basement, and that is something I'm never throwing away. That is my first ever debit card, and I'm very proud of it. I think it had like a brown tint to it. It had the WorkReady logo on it. It was really cool. I'm never forgetting that card. So I would say the communication is key. Like, understanding that at that space, I was the youngest in the room, and there's a lot of learning to be had, a lot of discipline of just body language and whatnot. If I'm just slouching like this all the time, who's gonna want to, really respect me and talk to me or think that I'm appreciating the opportunities? Cover your mouth when you yawn, little things like that. I learned just communication skills that are verbal and nonverbal. I learned how to keep myself busy, whether it be, just not staying around playing on my phone, even though phones weren't as popular back in the day. It was more so like, hey, read the newspaper. And then, that's a conversation starter when I'm talking to people around the office. I learned networking. That was probably the biggest key, just how to connect this person to that person and figure out what you have in the middle that can be a reason to, do something with. So I just learned about a lot about how to intake information, as well as a lot of patience. So it's like, hey, sometimes in life you're gonna have to do things that aren't exactly tailor made for you. How can you make the best of it? How can you be optimistic? Just learned a lot of different workspace skills, and even just general people skills that are good for any walk of life. So we're in Northeast Philly. We have an office in Tacony. We've had that office, I want to say, since 2019. With the exception of maybe 2, 3 Saturdays, a winter break, we're doing roughly 45 events a year. If there's 52 weeks in a year, I would say roughly about 45. And then there's also the ones that we don't exactly host or put on ourselves. So we probably even inch towards 80 to 100 events if you really include some of the smaller things as well. And yeah, the events are typically always going to have a lot of people, different ages, women, men, kids, and they're going to have all the supplies needed, whether it be cleaning supplies, trash bags, the toys, the games, basketballs. We provide everything, and we just try to make it an atmosphere that is entertaining and somewhere you don't want to leave. Yeah, you might go for 5 minutes, go to the store, get something to eat, but we want you to come back. This isn't just a high and buy event. Create environments where it's like, hey, I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you're straight, gay, whatever you identify as, please come and be part of our family. This is community. We are common unity, and we're on the same page to try to just help each other, help the people out there, help whatever we can, and let's make it a culture of sorts. And now, years later, this Block Is Back thing has grown to be, one of the more popular, prominent nonprofits in the city, I would say. I would say to be the best networker possible. Those are the people that are going to be your friends or partners in the future. The people are placed around, they all have purpose. There's a lot of potential in everyone, and you just got to figure out how to get the best out of them. Take their numbers, take their Instagram. I typically don't even ask people for phone numbers no more. Just add my Instagram. That way I can keep up with you possibly forever. And, you might not do anything this year, you might not do anything next year, but a couple years from now, you got something that is like, oh my God, I do the same thing. Let's connect. How can I learn from you? And I would just say, be very mindful and open to extending WorkReady well beyond actually, the term that you have. Leave a good positive footprint, but also get as much out of it as you can in the form of networking.